You know how all the time your students are coming in with excuses why they couldn't do their homework, why they couldn't remember their notebook, they don't know where this is, they don't know what happened to that, and they've all got these excuses. Well, this is an excuse grinder, and I'm going to show you how to make one for your very own. I know this in this economic times, Christmas gifts are hard to find, and we're going to make this excuse grinder. So when your students come in and give you excuses, you can turn on the grinder, and the grinder will chop them up into small, tiny bits that are no longer recognizable, and excuses will just go away in your classroom. Hopefully this will help you with your students. This one here is powered by a 9-volt battery, and I'm going to show you now how to make your own things that you may have to purchase. One is this small magnet. I get these from I believe Radio Shack. Sometimes you can find them at other stores, or you can buy them online. They're just a simple plain old magnet. You can use other sizes of magnets. What we want to do is use the magnet and the current flow that comes out of this 1.5-volt battery to go through the insulated wire, and the insulated wire opposes the current flow in the insulated wire opposes the magnetic field of the magnet, and that's what pushes the excuse grinder around on its axis. Well, you're going to build all of this using some simple things that you've got laying around. Paper clips, masking tape, you might need a Sharpie, and you might need some form of a scraping tool to get the insulation off the ends of the wire. Now this is a real important part, because what we've got to be able to do is we've got to be able to scrape the ends of the wire on one side and leave the other side covered with the insulating material. Now you can get this wire at some electrical stores, or you can take it off of an old alternator or any other electric motor that you can get to the windings. This is just simply copper wire with an insulating cover ready to put together. And you can see I've taken the paper clips and I've given them a distinctive bend so that this will make the uprights to hold the armature in the right position over the magnet. Now what we're going to do, we've got to make sure that the electrical connections of the batteries, or battery that you use, contact the uprights. If we don't have a connection, you don't have a circuit, and your excuse grinder is not going to run. Again, the better looking we can make this winding, and this one here is kind of sloppy, I'll work on it a little bit off camera, but we want that axis to be in the center of our circle, and we want to bend the wire around carefully so that we don't break the insulation, but that we have it tightly wound. And if you wrap this more than 1 or 2 times around here, it has a tendency to give a counter magnetic field, and that's not good either. We want one magnetic field. Now, this is important. We're going to scrape the top of this wire on both sides, the top being the part you're holding up. We're going to scrape it right here. And once I get that scraped off, I'll show it. The magnet is not touching the uprights. The battery has to make a connection across the uprights, and then when we place the armature where we've scraped only one side, the top on each of the arms, or the axis arms of the armature, then we've got this tightly wound, and we place that on the uprights. Now as it turns, it's going to turn on and off, go in and out of phase with a magnetic field in the circle there. And that magnetic field is going to push against the magnet. Now the uprights cannot touch a metal table. They have to be insulated, so you need to put this on some sort of insulating correctly. And we've got a good complete circuit there. We're going to have some voltage present to push that current flow through the copper wire that we're going to build into our armature. That's going to create a magnetic field that opposes the magnet's magnetic field and turns on and off because we scraped one side of the axis on both sides. Motor just spinning away. We've got pressure, we've got current flow, we've got a circuit, we've got opposing magnetic fields, we've got everything that every motor has. And I hope you can see that this excuse grinder does a little bit more than grind up excuses. It also does a good job of teaching basic electrical circuitry and magnetism and voltage. And have a basic electric motor, and it's a really good way to inexpensively teach your students how to use electricity to actually make something that works. It's a lot of fun to build these. The students always get a big kick out of seeing who can make the fastest one. As you can see, the excuse grinder in the back running off of the 9-volt battery is going a little bit faster than the one off the 1.5-volt battery. As the battery loses its pressure, it's going to wind down a little bit and slow down. My students even put an on and off switch here so that we could turn the bigger excuse grinder off. One of my students built this for me, and it sits on my desk. This one here I just created here on the kitchen table to show you how easy it is to use these simple things to teach electricity. Here we have voltage, pressure, magnetism, current flow. We have circuit. We have opposing magnetic field. We've got everything that goes into all electric motors. The same principles that operate this are the way that all electric motors operate. Hope you enjoy building your excuse. You can get more information and more things to do for your classroom at autoteacher.net. It's on the web, autoteacher.net.